Cam, you said last week that TVD would not play.
Mm-hmm.
Other people forecasted that he would play. So technically you were wrong, but maybe, I'm not even going to say maybe, by what we saw on the field, not just in regards to performance,
Mm-hmm.
but pain threshold, the
Mm-hmm.
obvious agony on the young man's face and the body posture.
Yeah.
It didn't appear as though he should have been playing.
I told you he shouldn't have been playing.
Right.
I was 100% right. I told you, he got injured 2 weeks ago, and that injury, from what we saw, there's no way he should have played. He should not. That was a disservice to the player and to the entire team to put him out there. I don't care, period. I know that we went to Virginia the week that he missed, and I mean, yeah, 4 field goals and a 2-point conversion for our 14 points and everything. But no, that was absolutely a disservice to the player and to the team to have him out there. He was not healthy. He, you couldn't protect him and got, other additional offensive line injuries. And this is a team that's been down multiple starters all season long. Excuse me. And everything. But yeah, no, that was truly deplorable. Honestly and truly. And I know, after the game, Xavier Restrepo was asked about it because, of course, they didn't make any of the quarterbacks available after the game because, duh. And, he said, well, whether he's 100% or 20%, he's a warrior mentality. He's going to go out there, do his best. So you're trying to tell me that he was maybe 20? Because Xavier Restrepo, remember, is Van Dyke's roommate, right? So he would know, things like that, even more than just your random other player on the roster. Like, they live together, right? And so if you're throwing numbers out there, then I have to follow up with the question. So you're telling me that Tyle Van Dyke knew and felt that he was 20% and felt like that was appropriate to go onto the field with? I mean, look, he got injured on air, right? And you see somebody go down with a non-contact injury. Oh, man, that's maybe an Achilles or a knee or something like that. He's rolling out to his right. He got flushed in the pocket. They were, down deep. And he just went to throw the ball away. On air. Didn't get touched. Jared Verse, he did one of these at the end of the play. On his opposite arm. Like, literally just barely grazed the corner of his shoulder pad. Just a little, But that was not his throwing arm. And that was not the impetus for the injury or the re-aggravation or whatever. It was just, he made one what I would call regular throw out of all the throws that he made on the day. Even after the first time he got injured, he's on the sideline. You see him on the broadcast because, in the press box, they got the broadcast up so you can see these things. I'm like, no, I feel a little bit better, but I mean, just agony written all over his face. No, bro, no. And it's a disservice to the player because when you're in charge, you have to be looking out for those people, right? So if he is not in a healthy place where it's reasonably similar to normal, if he's not 80, 85, 90%, sit your happy ass down. Sorry. I know you want to be out here. I know you want to play. And then it's a disservice to Jake and Jakari because you're now giving reps that they could use to be prepared for whatever game plan you're going to install, and you're giving those to a player who's injured and should not be playing. Look, man, it is unacceptable. And even more than the performance, because like I said, I picked Florida State to win and Miami to lose. I didn't think it was going to be the margin that it was. But they put every single player on the team in a no-win situation, right? You're giving reps to Tyle Van Dyke, who's clearly injured and should not have played. I've been saying it since he got injured a couple weeks ago. I've been here saying that, right? Cool. You're giving him reps that Jake Garcia and Jakari Brown sorely need to improve their performance. But now they don't get the same number of reps, right? Because you're giving them to 9. So you're putting them in a bad position. You're putting the offensive line in a worse position, and they're already depleted, bombed out like the hills of Baghdad, because now they, if somebody gets by them, they're going to feel like Billy Bob when he fainted in, Varsity Blues. There goes Lance Harbor. That's my quarterback. There goes his knee. Oh, my God. For any time that they get beat on a pass rush, this is a turnstile offensive line. They're not good. So now you make every single play infinitely more important and difficult because they're thinking, I can't let Tyler get hit because he's already at maybe 20%, right? And so now they have that on them and everything. So now they're thinking these things and they're not good enough to begin with, but you put them behind. Now, the running backs, they're behind because, look, I went through, and before I came on today, I finished an episode or a season of something on Netflix and said, I'm going to rewatch the game from the beginning up until I come and talk to you guys here. They had safeties sprinting before the snap towards the line of scrimmage. Heels at 15. Okay, we're reading that cadence. We're reading the cadence. Go. On many, many, many plays. Because you're not doing anything to stretch the field, to make them be where they need to be, right? Now, you have that. The receivers, they're in a bad spot because, you know, you got guys who have not gotten all the reps that they need and who need the reps for growth. You put every quarterback in a bad position because Tyler Van Dyke shouldn't have been out there, so he re-injures himself on air. That's one. Jake Garcia, you put him in only on 3rd and 7 and longer, so it's like, wonder what's going to happen. And again, what did I say earlier? The offensive line can't block, right? They're not really good at that. So now, excuse me, all these defenders from Florida State, including and especially Jared Verse, say, oh my goodness, go snap the ball, bro. Snap it. Because I'm going to be around you. Like, I'm around you now, even on the other side of the line of scrimmage. I'm around the corner already. Go ahead. Pin my ears back. Zoom. I'm out of there. Then Jakari Brown, you put him in. You actually let him throw a little bit. But most of the time, you're running simple stuff. So things are covered. And then now he's in a bad situation. And he's a gamer. And he's, you know, fresh up a turnip truck. And he just doesn't see the game that fast. So even when there was like 2 pass plays where there was something open, two, I counted them during the game. Dos, right? Eins, zwei in German, okay? De in French, 2 times. But game's moving a little bit too fast. He pulls that down and then he goes. So I've detailed the ways that all the quarterbacks are put in a negative situation, starting with you playing Tyler Van Dyke, the running backs, the receivers. Now the defense, if they give up anything, it's over. And now you're going to have these short drives and put them back out there again and again and again. It's over. You put everybody in the worst possible position for whatever idiotic reason that you thought 20% Tyler Van Dyke needs to play because he wants to play. Look, I don't got kids, but I was a teacher, right? They want Sometimes the answer is no. And that's what it needed to be. And that decision from there sprung out all of these things that didn't help the situation, right? And again, I always thought Miami was going to lose. After having watched Miami this year and watched Florida State, I thought it was a bad matchup. And so I said last week? I said, look, it scares me with their running backs getting to the second level, slipping an arm tackle, and having more room. What the happened? I'm trying to tell y'all, right? So this is the Cam was right segment, like Loud and Right featuring Cam Underwood. That's what we're doing right now. And all of it snowballed. So something that could have been almost respectable. Somebody, said, oh yeah, this is the inverse of 52-10 from 2 years ago. In a 2-year span, we've had a net 12 touchdown difference in that game because Miami beat Florida State by 6 touchdowns 2 years ago and lost by 6 touchdowns this year in the same building with largely the same roster on the Miami sideline. What the is going on? And it starts with the idiotic, dumbass to play Tyler Van Dyke when he's clearly injured. And I'm getting mad about it because it's a disservice to everybody who's working their ass off in that building. And even for all the coaches. Josh Gaddis, everybody's talking about firing him and everything. I don't think that should happen. We do have a writer on State of the U, Blake Malik, who's written 2 pieces about that. Van Dyke was missing wide open receivers. Yes, because he couldn't even get the ball there, and then Florida State did a really good job saying, look, they're only going to run these couple concepts. So we're going to spot match those concepts, and that's how you get the interceptions and things like this. Look, man, it was really, really bad. And I mean, like, I kind of just sat there and I actually tweeted it. Like, truth be told, I was half watching the game between the field and the screens, but they had one screen in the middle of the screen setup in the press box playing the World Series game. And then guy next to me in the press box had his ESPN or his YouTube TV watching LSU, Alabama. So I was like, I was really I was sports barring it up, honestly. And like, hey, I was tweeting about it and I was watching it, but I wasn't like watching because like, what are you doing, man? You know what I mean? And it was so bad. And then the effort, I think, started to go with that. And even guys who showed up previously, well, Daryl Jackson Jr. had maybe 1-2 tackles. Leonard Taylor didn't crack the stat sheet against Florida State. And this is after being defensive lineman of the week in the conference, after having, all those interviews and things. And so, well, I had this thing with, the meeting with my mama and my coaches and everything, and about my work ethic and my preparation. That's going to show up on the field, and that's why And that same week that all of that came out, he goes 0-0-0-0. He basically had a Tony Snell, for my basketball player fans, line out there where he just played the minutes but had 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 0 0 0 0 0. He basically was out there for cardio. That's what we have. So it was a failure on every single level. And yeah, man, it was just like, the stadium emptied out in the third quarter. Like, even in the second quarter, you hear the war chant. And the press box has like fixed windows, so you don't even get to open the window and hear it. But like, you could hear all of, the war chant and everything going on. And I was like, yeah, well, all the Miami fans left. I was wrong, because when they scored in the second half, then everybody left. And they were in the parking lot. I even saw, when we're going down to interviews and everything, like, parking lot say, hey, they were just like, cool, we bought all this, drink and all this food, so we're going to fire the grill back up and sip on a little sip on. But like, it wasn't the worst performance in program history, but it was on the short list. And that's how bad Saturday was. And I'm sorry if you have kids and you're watching this, and I know I had the foul language today, which I usually try to avoid, but sorry.